Welcome to a brand new episode of the Post Game. My name is Davion. We are back with Matt,
What up?
and today we are talking about the full on week one of NFL free agency. It has been a incredible day. It's been an incredible week so far, and man, we have a lot to talk about. There's been a lot of moves. There's been a lot of teams that have let some guys go that we probably didn't think it was going to happen, and vice versa. So as we go through, first off, leave a like, a comment. Let me know what you think down below in the comments about your favorite team and who your favorite team is. And yeah, we will do these videos weekly every Wednesday, Thursday, for the next couple of weeks as NFL free agency stays very active. So to start off, starting off with the quarterback moves around the NFL, we have seen Justin Fields get a 2-year, $40 million deal with the Jets. We've seen Daniel Jones get a 1-year, $14 million deal with the Colts, and we've seen Sam Darnold get a 3-year, $100 million deal with the Seahawks. Matt, how do you feel about these three moves? Do you think that these three moves were good, I guess?
Yeah, when it comes, I'll just go one by one here. I think Sam Darnold, out of the three, is probably the best in my opinion. Definitely got his money's worth for sure. He's, I believe, 27 still. He's still very young. Um, Seattle looks like they're just trying to do a reset and go younger. So don't hate that there. I think he could be successful in Seattle. They've always been pretty decent. I think that'll be fun. Justin Fields, another great one, just in a really weird situation. They do have a new head coach. Um, a lot of changes have been made to the Jets this offseason anyways. No Devontae Adams, of course. They still do have Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, so that's also intriguing.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Great player, rough situation. And then Daniel Jones. Uh, I don't know. It's obviously the Colts are doing this to have QB competition with Anthony Richardson.
Hmm?
Richardson has not had the best first 2 years of his career. You can blame injuries. I think he's the big issue because he just hasn't been very healthy these last couple of years. Obviously, he hasn't been efficient. I think the Colts are giving up on him too easily, but that's just me. I think they need to give him at least one more year or just finish out that rookie contract.
For sure.
Um, you know, there's a lot of talks that they might even trade him. Honestly, he would probably be in a better position somewhere
Mhm.
else. Um, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, the Colts are just also a weird one because like they've always had a good roster and they're gonna end up with, 8, 7 wins
Yep.
and just be middle of the pack. But like, I don't know. Daniel Jones. People have their opinions on him. He has not been good. Obviously, he was with the New York Giants, terrible organization, but he did lead them to a playoff series. They did win that game. So, you never know. So we'll see what happens with the Colts there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just touch on a couple of them real quick. Justin Fields, especially. I think they are setting him up for the perfect situation. I think, like you said, they have gone out and gotten a lot of different talent to put around him. I don't think they're done, getting some talent to put around him. They need to capitalize, and I think, Glenn Johnson, that's
Aaron Glenn.
Aaron Glenn. Geez, I just combined the two coordinators. Glenn. Aaron Glenn, literally, his job is to go in and change this
Culture.
culture perspective of what Jet football is, and I think this is a good start. I think they cut Rogers today. I think there was a $49 million dead cap hit,
Yeah.
and so I
hmm
mean that sucks. But regardless, it is what it is, and I like to see what happens here. I like to see where Justin Field goes from here. But yeah, Daniel Jones, they put him in a situation to probably be the starter, in my opinion, if we're being real. But Anthony Richardson has to be better. He has to be better if he wants to make sure he keeps his job. If he wants to. But listen, let's think about these outstanding quarterbacks. You have Aaron Rodgers, Jameis Winston, and Russell Wilson. How are we feeling about those three?
Yeah. Honestly, it's got to be scheme fit. It
Yeah.
sounds like Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. Either one of those could be signed by Pittsburgh any minute now. Um, and then same with the Giants as well. I think both of those teams are looking to bring back or get, Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. Um, Scheme wise, I would rather, that's a really good question. Um, Honestly, whoever goes to that Giants team is just
Yeah,
not gonna flourish.
yeah.
I just hate to say, they've got a long ways to go from being competitive, unless, whatever draft pick they get at number three is just an absolute splash and changes the whole directory of the team.
Hmm.
Um, I doubt there's going to be anything crazy. Um, if I'm Pittsburgh, I think I'm going after Aaron Rodgers.
Really?
Um, yeah, it's a bold one because obviously Russell Wilson played there, had a pretty decent year with the Steelers. Um, but I don't know. I think there's just a lot of controversy with Russell Wilson and that whole front office. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, you never know what's going to happen with him. Um, I don't know. It'll be interesting with Pittsburgh because we'll talk about it later, what the trade they made. But yeah. And then like Winston just sitting there. Honestly, I don't really know.
You can throw Kirk Cousins in there as well.
Kirk Cousins, yeah. I mean, I've heard um it sounds like the Falcons are going to keep him on their roster, but who knows?
Okay.
Um,
I
so with
I know that they have, or Russell anyway. He has a meeting on Friday with the Giants, and
yes,
he's in Cleveland tomorrow.
that's what it was. Yes.
He's in Cleveland tomorrow to see what the Browns are talking about. So who knows there? I mean, who knows what's going to happen there? But um, regardless, like these quarterbacks around the league, there's still going to be so many to be shaken up. I mean, the Saints don't. I mean, they've committed to Derek Carr. Panthers are committed to Bryce Young. I mean,
Of
it,
course.
we're not in a great place as a Saints organization. But moving on to some of the biggest trades so far this NFL offseason, DK Metcalf to the Steelers. That was pretty incredible. I think that's great for them. You
Hmm.
got Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders. You have Geno Smith to the Raiders, which is something crazy. Kenny Pickett went to the Browns. I don't think he'll start there, but that means Jameis is probably on his way out, if we're being honest. Um,
Yep.
and then you have CJ Gardner-Johnson going to the Texans on a move there. So, out of all these trades, like which one's your favorite? Which one did you like a lot?
I love the Laramie Tunsil trade, honestly.
Mhm.
Um, Tunsil is still a very good tackle in this league.
Oh yeah.
And adding him to the Commanders, who are young, who were a game away from the Super Bowl,
Yep.
um, adding Debo Samuel in there too, it's going to be pretty fun to see how they do together. Um, the Commanders honestly have been some of the biggest winners this offseason. They've gotten a lot of upgrades when it comes to their defense, like secondary, especially their O-line has looked great. Um, running back room is basically the same. And then obviously you have Debo. So that's definitely going to be the most exciting. Metcalf's also great.
That's what I like.
Um, you know, 5 years, what was it, 100?
100, maybe. Wait, they gave
No,
a 5 year
no.
deal?
Yeah, but it was like 30 million a year.
Oh, so they gave him a 3 year
So,
extension.
right.
Got
So
okay.
that's great. Metcalf's a great player, but they don't have a quarterback. So it's like, who's going to throw the ball to him? What are they going to do? And also, I think their O-line's a little shaky, but
Yeah.
I digress. They can figure that out in the draft or whatever they want to do. Yeah, those are definitely the two biggest ones. Geno was a shock, honestly, out of all these. I think that was the most surprising.
Yeah.
But that return, that reunion with Pete Carroll, who knows what they do at the quarterback position now or in the draft. Should like we talked about, we said Shador would drop
Who,
and the
Seattle?
Raiders would get him. I'm thinking no, I'm saying the Raiders would still get him, but now Geno,
Oh yeah,
I
no,
don't
no,
know.
no, no, no. And I
Um,
don't think Shador's stock has fallen. I think people are so full of
no, I
stuff
don't think he's
at
Shador's
all.
Shador's going to go in the top 10, I think.
Yeah,
So,
without a doubt, top five in my opinion. Like, there's
yeah.
like, just don't think like on this planet of like thinking that Shador's a bad quarterback. It's just like, or just like
No.
the personality is bad. Like, it's just a joke. It's just like It's ridiculous in my opinion, and I think Shador is going to show why he is a top talent. Again, I personally like those guys like Jackson Dart, like Quinn Ewers. I think those two are two really good quarterbacks
Yeah.
in this draft, and so we'll see what happens there and how they play. But yeah, I like DK Metcalf a lot. I think he opens up that offense for the Steelers, and it definitely helps them. And then I also like Gino to the Raiders. Gives them some stability at the quarterback position, which they've needed. And Pete Carroll's coming in as a head coach to be a stable head coach.
Yeah.
And I think that's what his job's going to be. He's 70 something years old. He's got not that many years left in him to coach. I think this is his last stop, and I think he just wants to be able to set the next head coach up for a good team with a good team. So
Yeah. I will say too, one more thing with the
yeah,
CJ Gardner trade.
yeah,
Um, I am just absolutely baffled at what Houston gave up for him because
yeah,
I believe they gave up one of their starting guards. Now, obviously, he wasn't the best,
yeah.
but like you get rid of him, you get rid of Laramie Tunsil,
Mhm.
Shaq Mason leaves. You have a whole new O line now that you got to figure out. And
Mhm.
Stroud alone last year was one of the most pressured QBs in the league. So that scares me for
Yeah,
Houston. That's my only concern. So you know they have O-line troubles and they go and get Christian Kirk. So I guess that's the logic we're dealing with here. Um, skill positions will come, but if you can't build those trenches on the D line and the O line,
hmm,
there's no point. So
absolutely.
we'll see what happens there. CJ Garner's a great player. I think with that secondary, that young defensive core, they're going to be really good next year. But yeah,
I
we
mean,
got to see.
they're getting on from that sophomore slump they had last year. It was a
Exactly.
rough, very, very rough time they had last year. I think this year will
And it
be,
wasn't even that rough too, because they were still a pretty
yeah,
good team. So
exactly. Injuries killed them, but they were still like a 9-10 win team. Granted,
yeah,
they're in a terrible division, but we digress.
yeah,
So, I mean, here's a big one. The San Francisco 49ers, their offensive losses or their offseason losses this year have been atrocious. They've lost what, 7, 8 starters. To be
yep.
some examples: Debo Samuel, Kavaris Ward, Kadavius Ward, Dre Greenlaw. I mean, these are like fundamental players to the foundation of their team. Juszczyk they cut as well. Like when I look at this Niners,
Leonard Floyd, he's not on that list,
yeah,
but
Leonard Floyd
he
as
was pretty
well.
good.
Like
Hmm.
you sit here and you think about like this team and you think about how this is happening. And I think I've been saying this for weeks, is that when teams like the Eagles at one point, because we're gonna talk about them too, these teams are they set themselves up in really good situations 2, 3 years ago. But now you have to pay your quarterback, you have to pay all these guys, and you have no money to pay them. So now they are all leaving. They are all gonna go elsewhere. And that's just what it's been right now. Dre Greenlaw went to the Broncos, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Um, the safety, can't pronounce his name. He
He
went
went to the Broncos as
he went to
well.
the Broncos as
They're not
well.
on there, but Kinlaw, Drake Kinlaw, I believe,
Mhm.
he went to the Vikings, which I think was great. Him and Jonathan Allen. I think we have another segment later on, but
Yeah.
both of them. Um, I don't know. The Niners, they're starting to aggravate me because obviously they don't have money. They're
Yeah.
losing a lot of starters. They got to pay Fred Warner, Jordan, Brock Purdy, whatever that contract's going to be. McCaffrey, we still don't even know what the hell's going on with him.
Yeah.
Um, he might end up getting traded. There's talks of that. I doubt they'll do that though, but it's just sad. And it honestly just kind of aggravates me because the Niners, the last few years, have been drafting and like going for too many skill positions.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, that's great. That's a bonus. But it's like I keep saying, your O line sucks. Their D line's already still pretty good, but like now you got to pay all these people, and they're half of them are gone. you don't really like there's nothing you really have. Like
Hmm.
it's just kind of a shell of themselves. And I mean like another thing, I think Joey Bosa was supposed to sign with them and then the Bills came in last second and offered him, 12 million instead of whatever the Niners did. So
10.
yeah, something like that.
They offer him
So
$10 million a year.
so it's like now what are you gonna do? And it's like it's gonna be sad because now with all this problem within the organization. Shanahan's job's now on the line when you have no
Absolutely.
money to spend.
Yep.
You know, who knows if John Lynch gets extended or not because he's their
Yep.
GM. Like credits to him, he's done pretty well, but um I don't know. They are just in a lot of trouble, I think. So
I want to see how much cap space they have for next year. Let me look real quick. So this year they're sitting with $43 million in cap. Next year they have $63 million in cap. That's before they've even signed players that they're
people,
gonna need. Like
and they really haven't
already,
signed anyone.
yeah, and their roster is like their 52-man
Depleting.
roster is sitting here with like 20 kids, 25 people.
Yeah.
So like they're gonna have to figure it out like now because I don't know how many draft picks they have, but is it I don't think it's enough to fix this issue.
I think they get a decent amount because of the compensation picks that came out today.
Yeah.
um, Whatever, it's between the third and the seventh round. So I'm not quite sure how many they had, but I mean they can definitely make something work.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think they're going to be fighting for Super Bowl
Oh no,
anytime soon
they're gonna
again.
be fighting for second and third place inside their division. That's what they're
Yeah.
gonna be fighting for.
hmm
I mean, because
So
every other teams in that division are getting better. The Rams are getting better. The who else is in that division? Seahawks are getting better, and the Cardinals. I mean, they've actually not done much either.
I mean Josh Sweat, that was a big
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
But I don't know, they're always very conservative. So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Okay.
I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, so the Minnesota Vikings, to me, one of the better teams this offseason and the moves that they have done. Um, Absolutely incredible. When you start with the re-signings, you get Aaron Jones, Byron Murphy Jr., who was a free agent as well, getting both those guys back, both really good. Byron Murphy especially was a core secondary piece for him. And then you go down the free agent signings, those first two, Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. Oh my goodness. The turnaround that front seven, that front four got in the span of 2 days is like absolutely incredible. And for
Yep,
people who like don't realize, Jonathan Allen is like to me so violently underrated because he was on the Commanders so long, his
for
most of his
sure.
career,
Yep.
and he's been great. And you know, not even last year, I mean multiple years he's always tried to he doesn't, he didn't really want to play for the Commanders anymore. And of course, the year they start getting better, he decides to still leave. So
Mm-hmm.
good for him, but I think that's going to be great. Isaiah Rodgers, that's another big piece. He was on that Eagles Super Bowl team. He's a really good nickel corner. That's some more depth for him. Will Fries, I believe he was a really low draft pick, and he like became a really good starter for the Colts. And he worked his way up, and he started like majority of his games, except for last year. He unfortunately broke his leg. Pretty crazy, but he's like a bona fide starter. And then Ryan Kelly as well, another Colts player. Um, and just seeing all those transactions, like the Colts and the Vikings are just swapping players at this point, but um, both of them great. So I think the Vikings have something to look for. You got JJ McCarthy coming back. Will officially play next year. They'll probably start him unless
I agree. Yep.
they make a move for a quarterback in the free agency. That'll be interesting. Um, if there's like a crazy 180 with Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, but
I mean,
I
you think about somebody like Jameis, backup quarterback, Jameis?
um I wouldn't mind it. I don't think say what you want about Jameis, like I don't think he's terrible.
I agree.
He's just like an average. He's a wonky quarterback.
He's like 15th, 16th, 14th, like 14 and 15, like where you rank at quarterbacks. Like he's not terrible. He's like in
Not
the
even
pros.
that. I mean, he's definitely like in the 20s, but it's like you can go from like, I don't remember what game it was. I think it was
Oh,
like
Steelers or Broncos.
he had like four, yeah, like
Broncos, he had 500, and then there was a couple games before that he had 500 as well.
yeah, and then the next game he throws four picks.
Yeah,
It's like he's all over the place.
you'd be stressing me out, man. He ain't even my
I
quarterback
I think he'd be a good culture guy though for a locker room, but
for sure, for sure.
I mean, we'll see about that. But um Vikings, I think it'll be good. Jefferson, of course, still elite. Aaron Jones, who's a solid player, he is getting a little older, but um, a lot to look forward to Minnesota. So I'm excited to see how they do next year.
Yeah, me too. I think Minnesota's going to be one of those teams that are very underrated.
And they were really good last year. They were second in their division.
Yeah.
That division was crazy besides the Bears, but now with what the Bears have done, I mean, that division can go anywhere. That anything can happen now. I mean,
Oh yeah, absolutely,
we'll see.
absolutely. But we'll see. Yeah, exactly. Last but not least, the Philadelphia Super Bowl Eagles have been on the move. They have lost a lot of players in free agency, but they have also, yeah, they've lost a lot of players in free agency. They've gained a couple, but like their defense is getting eaten alive right now. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Josh Sweat, Montel Williams, Darius Slay, like those, Isaiah Rodgers, like those guys. Oh, and they another. Oh no, they re-signed him. My bad. But they like this team, like we were talking about this like pre-episode. How do you feel about, them losing all these players? Like, do you think this will have an effect on them or no?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, a lot of these guys were core pieces to this defense, like pointing out Darius Slay and Josh Sweat, I think are the biggest ones on that list. Sweat was phenomenal last year. Honestly, he probably should have won the Super Bowl MVP the way he played. I think he had 3 sacks alone.
Yeah.
Absolute monster. Milton Williams was great, but he was their third stringer. But he was that pressure guy. He brought pressure. He was that big rotational piece for that defensive line. And now with the Eagles, where you have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis still, who are both very young, um, the sky's the limit. I mean,
Yeah.
Philly has done a really good job in their last few drafts over the years. And, I think they will regress for sure. Um, I just don't know if they'll be able to go back to back because of how many pieces they've lost.
I agree.
Now, with the draft coming up, anything can happen. Who knows if they make a trade up, get somebody, they'll end up with the draft to me, I've heard after picks, 10 to 35, like all the players are as equally balanced and like good talent wise, no matter what. Like this is going to be one of the most like normal average drafts when it comes to like how good a player is besides the top 10.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. We'll see. I think they'll regress for sure. I still think they win the division though when it's all said and done. Super Bowl though, I'm not really banking on it this year, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm pretty much right there with you. I don't think that Super Bowl is on their minds, but I do think, well, it's probably on their mind, but I don't think they get the Super Bowl. But before we get out of here, there's just want to go run through a couple of different trades that's happened. You had or not trades, just signings that happened. DeAndre Hopkins signed a 1 year deal with the Ravens. You had
Mhm.
Justin Reed signed with the Saints. You had Joey Bosa signed with the Buffalo Bills. What else happened? Marcus Mariota re-signed with the Commanders. That's good for them.
A sneaky good one I like that Carolina did, picking up Rico Dow on a
Yeah.
1 year. Um, Great backup for Chuba Hubbard there.
hmm
Um, who
Cooper
else
Kupp
was
got
on here?
released.
Cooper Kupp got released. Thank you. That's who I was
Evan
thinking of.
Evan Ingram is now a Bronco. I think the Broncos are going to be good next year. The Seattle Seahawks signed Demarcus Lawrence. Interesting in my opinion. Um,
Another one just regarding transaction wise, CJ Mosley getting released
mhm.
from the Jets. all-pro player. A little older now, but that's definitely still a big name on the free agency that has popped up.
Yeah.
Um,
Eagles signed AJ Dillon.
that's another good
And
one with Saquon.
yep, and then just
Harrison Smith just re-signed with the Vikings
that's where I was going.
as of 10 minutes ago. Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. So
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna try to get these out probably once a week, but if there's an overabundance of them, we'll probably get more than that. Expect an NFL draft video probably the first week of April. And then yeah, we're fully back into the season. We're pretty much into the offseason anyway. So let me know what you Matt, you got anything else before we head out of here?
no, keep it coming, NFL. Let's get some more trades
Quarterbacks move.
throughout the week.
Get a
Or
Saints.
QB moves. Yeah, I'm curious. I hope Russell Wilson or Rodgers picks makes a decision
Oh
by
yeah.
the end of the week here. So I'm excited.
All right. Well, yeah. We'll appreciate y'all for watching. If you made it this far. I've been your host, Davion. That's been Matt, and this has been the post game. Peace.
Peace.